Multipliers, How the Best Leaders Make Everyone Smarter, by Liz Wiseman. Introduction. Have you ever been around someone who just seems to light up a room? Not with a big personality, but with a quiet confidence that makes you feel smarter, more capable, more creative? When they're around, ideas flow, problems get solved, and you walk away feeling like you can take on the world. Now, think about the opposite. Have you ever been in a room where one person's presence seems to suck all the air out? The moment they walk in, good ideas go quiet. People hesitate. You start second-guessing yourself. You walk away feeling drained, small, and maybe even a little bit dumb. What if I told you that this difference isn't an accident, that it's a specific, learnable skill? What if the single most important leadership decision you'll ever make has nothing to do with strategy or vision, but everything to do with which of those two people you choose to become? In her groundbreaking book, Multipliers, Liz Wiseman uncovers a profound secret that separates the world's most effective leaders from everyone else. It's a book that has sold over 1 million copies and has been embraced by leaders at companies like Apple, Google, and Nike, because it answers a fundamental question: why do some leaders drain the intelligence from their teams while others amplify it, getting twice the capability for free? Wiseman, a former executive at Oracle Corporation who spent years studying over 150 leaders across the globe, didn't just write a business book. She created a new language for understanding human potential. Today, we're going to step into her world. We will explore the hidden mindsets that determine whether you build people up or shut them down. By the end of our time together, you will understand the 5 disciplines of leaders who make everyone around them smarter, and you'll discover the surprising ways even good people with the best intentions can accidentally diminish others. This isn't just a summary. It's a guide to unlocking the genius that lies dormant in everyone you meet, starting with yourself. Book summary. Let's start with a story. It's the story of a young man named Derek Jones. In 1994, Derek, a sharp 18-year-old from Detroit, joined the U.S. Navy. He was smart, tested off the charts, and quickly found himself in an advanced electronics program. He graduated first in his class and was assigned to one of the Navy's newest guided missile destroyers. On that ship, he was a star, a top performer, recognized by his officers as one of the hardest-working sailors on board. He was on top of his game. Until a new commanding officer, let's call him Commander Fredericks, took the helm. Fredericks was brilliant. He knew the ship's operations inside and out, and he made sure everyone else knew it too. He managed every detail, every situation, every sailor. During intense missile exercises, where hundreds of things happen at once, Fredericks would stand inches from Derek, watching every decision, taking constant notes. If Derek hesitated, Fredericks would publicly mock his efforts. Under this constant, critical scrutiny, something happened to Derek. He couldn't think properly. He struggled to perform the very tasks he had once mastered. He had been a star, but as Fredericks loomed over his shoulder, managing every detail and finding every mistake, the tension mounted. Derek started failing. Not just once, but in nearly every scenario. He and his team became less and less capable, convinced they couldn't operate the ship's systems without the commander's intervention. Eventually, Fredericks revoked Derek's qualification to operate the console. His performance, and his confidence, went into a tailspin. Just 3 months later, a new commanding officer, Commander Abbott, arrived. Abbott was just as confident as Fredericks, but his confidence was different. It was in his sailors as much as in himself. He sought Derek out and, for an upcoming missile exercise, he said, "Jones, you're my man in this exercise. I'm counting on you, and so are your shipmates." This time, as Derek prepared, the CO was calm and inquisitive. He didn't feel like he was being tested. He felt like he was learning and working with his commander on a challenge. On the day of the exercise, with the new CEO standing behind him, Derek operated the console flawlessly. Time after time, he provided the correct solutions without a single error, achieving the highest score any ship had seen in over a year. Commander Abbott announced over the ship's speaker system, "Petty Officer Jones and crew won the battle for us today." From that day on, Derek's career soared. He was promoted in record time, nominated for the prestigious Seaman to Admiral program, and today, he serves as a high-ranking officer in the U.S. Navy. The same person. The same ship. The same job. But under one leader, he was stupefied with fear. Under another, he was smart and capable. This is the very heart of Liz Wiseman's book. She calls leaders like Commander Frederick's diminishers. They are the geniuses who are so absorbed in their own intelligence that they stifle others and drain the capability from their organizations. And leaders like Commander Abbott? She calls them multipliers. They are the genius makers. They don't just use their own intelligence, they use it to amplify the smarts and capability of everyone around them. In their presence, people don't just feel smarter, they actually become smarter. Through her research on over 150 executives, Wiseman found something astonishing. She asked people to estimate what percentage of their capability their diminisher bosses got from them. The numbers were typically between 20 and 50%. Then she asked about their multiplier bosses. The numbers jumped to between 70 and 100%. When she did the math, she found that multipliers get, on average, twice the capability from their people as diminishers do. Imagine that. 2 times the intelligence, 2 times the creativity, 2 times the effort, all without hiring a single extra person. This is the multiplier effect. So, what is the secret? It isn't about being nice. In fact, Wiseman found that multipliers are often tough, exacting managers who expect great things from their people. The difference isn't in their personality, it's in their core assumptions about people. The diminisher operates from a hidden belief: people will never figure this out without me. They see intelligence as a rare commodity, and they believe they are one of the lucky few who possess it. Because of this, they feel they have to have all the answers, make all the decisions, and jump in to rescue people who are failing. And a funny thing happens: their people become dependent, stop taking initiative, and wait to be told what to do, proving the diminisher's original assumption correct. The multiplier, on the other hand, operates from a completely different assumption: people are smart and will figure it out. They see intelligence everywhere, in many different forms. They don't see their job as having all the answers. They see their job as asking the right questions, framing the right challenges, and creating an environment that unleashes the genius in others. This fundamental difference in mindset leads to 5 distinct disciplines that separate the 2 types of leaders. The first discipline is how they manage talent. Diminishers are empire builders. They acquire talented people to build their own kingdom. They hoard resources and often underutilize the very people they hired, collecting them like trophies in a cabinet, on display, but not truly used. This creates a vicious cycle. Talented people get boxed in, they lose confidence, their market value drops, and the organization gets a reputation as a place where careers go to die. Multipliers, in contrast, are talent magnets. They attract talented people because word gets out that they are the best boss to work for, a place where you will be challenged, utilized, and grown. Think of Mitt Romney early in his career at Bain & Company. A young Meg Whitman, fresh out of Harvard, scrambled to get on his team. Why? Because the word was out. Everyone grew around Mitt. He didn't just review resumes, he took the time to find people's native genius, that unique thing they do better than anyone else, easily and freely. Then he would connect that genius to big opportunities, shine a spotlight on their success, and accelerate their careers. This creates a virtuous cycle of attraction. A players become A+ players, they get recognized, their market value increases, and more players flock to work for them. A talent magnet doesn't just use all the brains they have, but all the brains they can borrow. The second discipline is the environment they create. Diminishers are tyrants. They create a tense environment filled with judgment and fear. It might be a loud, bullying tyrant like the manager Jenna Healy, who created such hysteria that her colleagues joked about needing a storm warning system for when she was on the warpath. Or it could be a quiet tyrant whose subtle disapproval makes everyone afraid to speak up. In either case, the result is the same. People play it safe. They hold back their best ideas and offer only mediocre work because it's too risky to do otherwise. Multipliers are liberators. They create an environment that is both comfortable and intense. It's a place where people have permission to think, to speak up, to make mistakes, and to do their absolute best work. Take Patrick Kelly, the legendary 8th grade history teacher. His students say his class is incredibly tough. He demands their best and doesn't tolerate laziness. But he also creates a space where they are encouraged to voice their opinions, to ask good questions, and to learn from their mistakes. He gives them space, and in return, they give him their best effort. Liberators understand that people's best thinking must be given, not taken. They create an environment of safety that invites bold thinking, but they also apply enough pressure to ensure that thinking is rigorous and leads to extraordinary results. The third discipline is how they set direction. Diminishers are know-it-alls. They believe their job is to have all the answers and to tell people what to do. They ask questions only to test people or to prove their own point. This limits the organization to only what the leader already knows. People spend their energy trying to figure out what the boss wants instead of solving the actual problem. Multipliers are challengers. They don't provide answers. They define opportunities and ask the big, hard questions that cause people to stretch. Matt McCauley, the young CEO of Gymboree, is a perfect example. Instead of just setting a sales target, he went to his organization and laid down a Mission Impossible challenge, a goal so big it seemed crazy. He didn't tell them how to do it. He asked each person, "What would be your mission impossible?" This ignited a charge throughout the company. By asking people to explore the impossible, he gave them permission to rethink the business entirely. And together, they achieved the impossible, nearly quintupling the company's earnings per share in 4 years. A challenger creates a vacuum between what people know and what they need to know. That vacuum pulls the entire organization forward, forcing them to learn, grow, and get smarter in the process. The fourth discipline is how they make decisions. Diminishers are decision makers. They make decisions efficiently, either alone or with a small inner circle, and then announce them to the organization. The problem is, while the decision is made quickly, the rest of the organization is left in the dark. They don't understand the rationale, so they spend their time debating the soundness of the decision instead of executing it. This creates spin and wastes enormous energy. Multipliers are debate makers. They understand that a decision is only as good as the collective understanding behind it. So, for important decisions, they engage their teams in rigorous, fact-based debate before a decision is made. Lutz Ziob at Microsoft needed to decide whether to pivot his entire education business. Instead of deciding himself, he framed the key question, gave his team 2 weeks to prepare with data, and then sparked a fierce debate. He even made people switch sides and argue against their own positions to ensure every angle was explored. The debate was intense, but by the end, the team had a deep, shared understanding of the issues. When the final decision was made, they were ready to execute it with conviction and speed because they had helped create it. Debate makers know that if you let people weigh in, they are far more likely to buy in. Finally, the fifth discipline is how they drive results. Diminishers are micromanagers. They stay in charge of all the details, jumping in to fix problems and rescue projects. They believe that if they don't follow up constantly, people won't deliver. This creates a cycle of dependency. People start waiting for the boss to jump in, which reinforces the micromanager's belief that they are the only one who can get things done. Multipliers are investors. They give people ownership for results and invest in their success. They teach and coach, but they always ensure that accountability stays with the other person. Jay Choi, the McKinsey partner in Seoul, saw his team struggling late one night. He jumped in, took the whiteboard marker, and helped them reframe their thinking. But once the new path was clear, he did something crucial. He handed the pen back to the project leader. That simple gesture said, "I'm here to help, but this is still your project. You are in charge." Investors don't do things for their people that their people can do for themselves. They give 51% of the vote, making it clear who has the final say, but they also demand 100% of the accountability. This creates an organization of owners, not employees, who can deliver results independently. Now, after hearing all this, it's easy to think of multipliers as saints and diminishers as villains. But Wiseman's most powerful insight might be this: the vast majority of diminishing that happens in our workplaces is not done by tyrants and narcissists. It's done by good people, with the best of intentions. She calls them accidental diminishers. Have you ever been the idea guy, so full of creative thoughts that you constantly throw them out, accidentally causing your team to whip back and forth, never finishing anything? Or the rescuer, who hates to see people struggle, so you jump in to help, inadvertently robbing them of the chance to learn and build their own confidence? This, Wiseman says, is the most common form of accidental diminishing. What about the pace setter, who leads by example, running so fast that everyone else gives up and becomes a spectator? Or the optimist, whose can-do attitude unintentionally dismisses the real struggle and difficulty of the work, making people feel like failure isn't an option? The key is self-awareness. Becoming a multiplier isn't about a massive personality overhaul. It often starts with simply doing less. Less talking, less rescuing, less providing all the answers. And doing more challenging. But what if you're not the one in charge? What if you're stuck working for a diminisher? It's easy to feel trapped. The natural reaction is to fight back, avoid them, or just comply and lie low. But Wiseman found these are the least effective strategies. Fighting a diminisher only makes them diminish more. It creates a death spiral. The most effective strategy is counterintuitive. You have to multiply up. You have to be a multiplier to your boss. This doesn't mean you flatter them. It means you understand what they need and you lead your leader. For instance, instead of just reacting to their micromanagement, you can proactively provide them with the information they need to feel confident. You can exploit their strengths, asking for their specific genius at just the right moment. You can listen to learn, not just to obey. When you bring out the best in your boss, you create the space to do your own best work. The journey from diminisher, accidental or otherwise, to multiplier is possible. Bill Campbell, the legendary coach to Silicon Valley CEOs like Steve Jobs and Jeff Bezos, confessed he started his career as a complete diminisher. "I drove everyone nuts," he said. But through feedback from brave colleagues, he realized the damage he was doing and transformed himself. He became not just a multiplier, but a multiplier of multipliers, teaching other leaders how to unlock the genius in their own organizations. His story, and countless others in the book, show us that this isn't about a fixed trait. It's a choice. A choice we make in every interaction. Are we going to be the genius in the room, or are we going to be the genius maker? Commentary. When you step back and look at the core message of multipliers, it's incredibly simple and yet profoundly challenging. For generations, we've been taught that leadership is about being strong, visionary, and having the answers. We celebrate the lone genius, the charismatic figure at the top who guides everyone else. Liz Wiseman turns that entire model on its head. She suggests that the most powerful form of leadership isn't about how smart you are, but about how much intelligence you can unleash in others. The most resonant part of this book, for me and for so many others, is the idea of the accidental diminisher. It's a moment of humbling self-recognition. It's easy to point fingers at the obvious tyrants and micromanagers we've known. It is much harder, and far more valuable, to look in the mirror and ask, in what ways am I, with the best of intentions, holding people back? Am I the rescuer who loves to be needed? Am I the pace setter who thinks my hard work should be enough to inspire others? This concept transforms the book from a simple us versus them framework into a powerful tool for personal growth. It gives us permission to be imperfect and a clear path to improve. The world today is facing challenges of unprecedented complexity, in technology, in the environment, in our societies. No single genius, no matter how brilliant, can solve them alone. The problems we face require us to access the full, collective intelligence available to us. And that's why this idea matters now more than ever. We are often, as the book says, overworked but underutilized. This isn't just a corporate problem, it's a human problem. There is so much more intelligence and capability inside our schools, our communities, and our families than we are currently using. The promise of Multipliers is that we can change that. And you don't have to wait until you have a formal title to start. You can begin practicing this right now, as a 17-year-old, in your daily life. Here are 3 simple ways to start your own multiplier experiment today. First, in your next group project or even at the dinner table, try to ask more than you tell. Instead of jumping in with your opinion, ask a genuine, curious question. Something like, what's another way we could look at this? Or what's the most important part of this problem for you? Create a small vacuum and see who steps in to fill it. You'll be amazed at the intelligence that surfaces when you create space for it. Second, practice giving the pen back. The next time a friend asks you for help with a math problem or an essay, resist the urge to just give them the answer or fix it for them. Explain the concept, guide their thinking, and then hand the pen back and say, "You've got this." How do you want to finish it? You're not just helping them get the right answer. You're helping them become someone who can find the answer on their own. Third, name the genius. Pay attention to the people around you. What is your friend, your sibling, your parent naturally brilliant at? Is one friend an incredible listener? Is your brother amazing at staying calm under pressure? Find a moment this week to tell them. Say, you know what you're really great at? You're great at. It costs you nothing, but that simple act of recognition can unlock a level of confidence and capability in them that they didn't even know they had. That was a summary of Multipliers by Liz Wiseman. We've explored the core ideas today, but a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. It can show you the major cities and rivers, but it can never replace the feeling of actually walking the streets, meeting the people, and experiencing the culture for yourself. The real power of this book is in the details, the specific stories, the subtle examples, and the quiet moments of self-reflection it provokes. This summary is a doorway. If any of these ideas have sparked something in you, I encourage you to walk through it. Pick up a copy of the book, because reading it isn't just about learning a new leadership model, it's about discovering a more fulfilling way to interact with every single person in your life. The link to the book is in the description. Also, if you found this journey valuable, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It tells us that we're on the right track, and it ensures you won't miss our next deep dive into another world-changing book from the billionaire's bookshelf. Let's continue to learn and grow, together.